Hello, Aries. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. Website is schifferbooks.com over here on the side. Feel free to freeze frame on that if you want that spelling or any of that information. Supportive oracle cards are Spellcasting Oracle cards by Flavia, Barbara, and Lizbeth. There are their full names if you're interested. Websites on the back. I noticed She Who Is Art most of the time. There's a couple others there too. If you want to check out any of the rest of them, feel free to check out those, of course. Whew. What do we have for Aries? That's a curious... I don't usually do it that way, but it's the way it came out, so we'll go with it. Alright, I got another deck here. How is this... Okay. You're making up your mind on something. Something has definitely changed. How? Okay. I keep seeing this Three of Swords, and it doesn't seem like it's upsetting you. The Three of Swords is usually heartbreak. But I don't think it's knocking you down. Something with the Lover's card in the past. It seems it's starting off quite vague, and I'm like, how is that not... I think because I'm stuck on the, like, how are you not upset with the Three of Swords? But, okay. I mean, not that we want you to, but... Three of Pentacles, you got that twice. And then you got the Wheel of Fortune. Ooh, this is not your fault. I think that's what it is. I don't know if it's you getting your heart broken, quite frankly, because the rebound is so fast. And I see things going really well for you after this. So it's like the Three of Swords hits. I think there's something that you want to happen. And it's like somebody else is going to lose. And I don't think this is your fault. I also see Aries being more on the realistic, like, I didn't cause anything to fail. But the fact that that didn't work out and then I can salvage something from that and make a success from it, I don't see that as a bad thing. It's kind of like if a house had a lot of wind damage and fell in, and somebody had to move and get rid of it because of it, but then you're able to go in there and salvage everything from it and make use of it. It's kind of like, I didn't want that to happen to them. It's not my fault. But the fact that we can make use of that, those materials, that's not a bad thing. I feel like that's the type of thing we're dealing with here. It is okay. I'm avoiding it for some reason, but it could be somebody's relationship is breaking up, and it's somebody that maybe either you had a relationship with this person in the past, or it's something where when you met this person, they were already committed to somebody else, so you're like, well, that's not for me, and you moved on. But now you're like, oh, that relationship dissolved. You weren't looking for it, you weren't trying to make it happen, but it's kind of like, now that I know that happened, you know, because I get, like, there's work that has to be done here. Whatever, I feel like somebody else lost. Somebody else lost something. Somebody else could have lost a position. This could be job-wise. Somebody else lost a position, now that position's open. Could be this simple. Could be that simple. It's not your fault. Whatever happened, it's literally not your fault. But now that things are changing, you see there's success that comes out of that failure for you. These two came out together. That's why I keep like, I don't know how it sounds. It sounds the way it sounds. This is how it's coming forward. Like somebody else lost, you might gain because of it. It's not like, you're not like, I guess people would call that an ambulance chaser, where, you know, an accident happens and then a lawyer would follow that ambulance to find out if they could, you know, get that person to sue and they could make money off of it. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's just kind of like opportunity kind of showed up, somebody else lost. Like somebody had to lose something for you to gain something. Judgment is in your favor, though. I don't see this being a bad thing. It does seem to feel a little bit like, oh, like I didn't want somebody to lose. That's not what I wasn't trying to make somebody to lose. Like, but the fact that it happened, I don't see like somebody lost. It's not my fault they lost. Are you making... Does that bother you, or is it just me, or is that a part of this? Seven of Cups, and then you do care. It's like I wasn't looking to set somebody else to fail. But it's kind of like there's possibilities here because of it. It's like you're in both worlds. You're like kind of like, I want that, and you might be kind of like solving out your feelings in the middle there. It's not your fault. You might be holding back for a minute, kind of like, I do want that, but I don't want to look really bad. I don't want to be like, oh, you're single? Hey, hey, come with me. as they're packing up their suitcase, now that you're single, or like, if it's a business thing, like as somebody's packing up their stuff and leaving the office, oh, I'm going to love living here. Wait, you're not like stepping in, like, I'm going to move my stuff in before you're done moving out. Like, I'm not doing that. We're not, you're holding back. You're like, I'm going to hold myself together. I'm not going to jump, but you want to. You're thinking about it. I feel like you're thinking, like, I can't wait to get in there, but you're like, no, I got to have some couth. Information comes towards you really fast on this one. I feel like you're holding back. You're trying to hold back. But if we're going to be nice, let's do the business one first. Somebody lost a position. That position's open. It's a position you want. Maybe before that person is out the door completely, somebody else is already approaching you. Like, hey, Aries, didn't you want that position at one point? You should apply for it. Go ahead, apply for it now. And it's kind of like, I wouldn't feel bad about going forward in that sense. I don't know. I feel like, if somebody's leaving for whatever reason, okay, they're leaving. Because I feel like the reason they could be leaving might be like a pretty sad reason, whatever that could be. I don't feel like you apply, for example, if it was a job thing, you applying, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. And I feel like if you're applying with other people, it's kind of, and especially if they're like saying, hey, you should apply, it's kind of like I wouldn't hold yourself back, because if you don't apply, somebody else probably will. You might miss your opportunity. So it's like, and it's up to them to have the couth to keep it to themselves that they're interviewing applicants right away, or however that's working. Because I feel like when I see answers in the King of Swords, somebody's saying, hey, Aries, you need to go forward with this. Like, that's what you want. You need to move forward. If it's a romantic thing, somebody might be like, you know what? That relationship, I just got out of it. But you know what? For me, it's been over for a good year or so. So I don't really have attachment to that person. I haven't for a year. It just took me a year to get out of it. How you handle it from that moment forward, I wouldn't hold yourself back in going for what you want, but you might have, like, if it's a love thing especially, all right, I want to start seeing you, but I also want to, like, keep it, like, for the first 2 to 3 months, let's just keep it between us. We'll be committed to each other, but let's just keep it private between us until the dust settles, and after the 3-month mark, we can be more public about it if you like. If that's the realm this is in, because it can go in a few different realms. It's a general read, A lot coming in here. Whatever this is coming forward, the person that lost, because it's off to the side, I found this weird. Everything else is in line, but except for this one card. And I was like, why is that there? This is the person who lost. They've got the Nine of Cups. They're fine. This change, ultimately, is what they need. It is changing their life trajectory. This is how their life is supposed to go. I'm not even feeling like there's negative energy towards you from this person, just to be fair. So they're just kind of like putting that out there. Like, whoever this is, this is the person who lost, is what I'm getting. The person who had the Three of Swords hit. They're going to hit the Nine of Cups after this, or they're meant to hit the Nine of Cups. It's a general read. Everybody has their own way of handling life. At some point, they're supposed to hit their Nine of Cups in the sense of, like, it's better for them to have lost it. Whatever it was not for them, and they needed to move on, and this is what needed to happen for their life to go to the next level. So in case that's weighing on you, if there's some bearing there, realize that this is setting them up to go somewhere else. This is how their life is supposed to progress. When this comes in for you, I do see the Justice card coming in, and I feel like you have to be a little diplomatic with it for it to be the best outcome. Aries likes to be on the forefront. They like to be right out there with what's going on. Aries is also, over time, Aries learns like when to be more strategic and when to be more bold. This is more of a strategic moment. Am I going to keep this situation private forever? Definitely not. But as I'm moving forward, you're not going to lie to people, but you're going to be like, hey, that's not your business. Or you're going to be like, if I want to talk about that, I'll let you know. It's not like I'm going to tell them, like, I'm not going to set them up like nothing's happening, but I'm also going to be like, that's not your business, stay out of my business. And I feel like that's for a little while. It's not for a long term, but I feel like that's more the strategic kind of like, just because people want answers doesn't mean they're entitled to them. And, if it's not the right time to give these answers, I'm not going to like give them a line of BS. I'm simply going to say like, hey, know your place. This is not for you. Don't be asking me questions that you are not entitled to those answers. I don't know if I don't know if that makes sense the way I'm saying it. Because I'm like, I'm not going to tell them something to make them think something is happening here that's not. I'm not going to do that. I'm simply going to say, hey, that question, you're not allowed to ask me that question. Or, just because you think you're allowed to ask that question, it doesn't mean you are. I'm simply going to be like, stay out of that category in my life. That's not for you. Or like this promotion thing, I'd be like, listen, I'm not in a place to talk about that right now. Let's just let things sort out. Right now, I'm not dealing with that conversation. I'm not having that conversation with whoever it is, if you feel that that's appropriate. Because I feel like I'm very careful about, I'm not going to give people the wrong impression, like, oh no, I wouldn't go for that position. I'm not going to say that, because especially if I'm going to get it, or if I think I'm going to get it. But I'm also like, not going to tell them I didn't go for it, or that I did go for it, if I don't want them to know. If I don't want them to know I applied for it, I'll be like, listen, I'm not ready to have that conversation. Let's just deal with who's leaving and leave that to that. That's not a conversation for you. Don't ask me those questions. Or I'll walk away from them. You might just flat out walk away from them. Kind of like, that's not for them to ask. They're not entitled to that answer. You're balancing things out, but you have a lot of benefit coming in the future here. Things are going back and forth. People are trying to find out what you're doing. People are going to be nosy about your business, but I feel like I can't really push that out there yet. I do feel like it's going to become aggravating for you, because Aries is usually right out there, very bold, like this is what's going on. The reason I feel like I'm not doing that is because I feel like there's going to be scattershot. Maybe you can handle it, but the people around you, the people that you care about, they're going to have fallout from that you don't want. So it's like, I hate doing it that way, but I'm like, I'm not giving out information that I'm not ready for. It's very strategic the way you're doing it, though. On your terms, the way you're comfortable with. It seems like it's difficult, but I feel like I have to be very cautious about who I talk to and when I talk to them. It's more about that. By handling it that way, I do feel like it takes some effort, because I don't like it. I prefer just to have it right out there. I really would just like to have it right out there, but I'm like, it's just not, it's not for the best, and I understand that. I don't like it, but I understand it. I feel like that's where I am. And it's more about other people and what other people are doing. It's like, if other people were more respectful and not asking questions they shouldn't ask, or at least, anyway. By holding it back the way I need to, I feel like I hate it, but holding it back the way I need to, things do work out quite well. I don't think we have any animosities we don't have to have. So that's the Three of Cups. Everybody seems to be getting along by holding it back. The Ace of Cups does show up with a great outcome. There's a lot behind it. It's the Two of Swords right behind it. Like, by strategically holding things back when we need to, that's how everything works out for the best, and we get a great moment from it. By letting the information out too soon, people won't forget that. And I feel like people are holding grudges that don't need to hold grudges. People don't understand what's going on, and people are very upset and can't let go of things. So if you decide not to hold back the information, instead of having the Ace of Cups, I feel like we have long-term problems that just don't seem to disappear. It's kind of like things happened the way they happened, things sorted out the way they sorted out. Some people are going to believe that that was wrong. It's really not their place to have that opinion. It's not their business, but they will anyway, and they will cause problems for you and other people around you. So to avoid those problems, it's just keeping it to yourself. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying for the better outcome, it's keeping it to yourself. That's all. I can see where that's happened like a long time ago. The way a couple people got together, I can remember this. They just never admitted to it, but it's kind of, people kind of knew what happened. But it was easier to deal with, and people stopped talking about it after a while because they just wouldn't entertain the conversation. I can also see the couple people who thought they knew what happened and could have been right, never letting it go and never letting it die. Because it was never admitted to, other people just didn't catch into it. But I don't know if it makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense the way I said it, but the short of it is keeping things to yourself, even though you prefer to be right out there, kind of like, this is our business, or this is my business, and this isn't for other people to judge. Even though you're right, you know how people are. You know people are going to do what they want, and they're going to cause problems that aren't right. They shouldn't be holding these grudges. They shouldn't be causing problems, but if they get the information too soon, they will, and they won't go away. Is it right? No. But if you want to avoid that outcome, it's like keeping it to yourself, being strategic when you let the information go forward, and just dedicating to, like, this is how we're going to do it from here going forward, makes this situation the most pleasant. That's, if you do it that way, you do get the Ace of Cups. It's a great outcome, but it's like, whatever you hold back now, you'll probably always keep it that way. Like, nope, we're just going to keep that private. Those are answers you're not going to get. How we got together, when we got together, or how I got that job, when I got that job. Not talking about that. That's not anybody else's business. We're just going to not only keep it private. Currently, we're always going to keep it private. So it's always going to be like, we're not talking about that with other people. It's not their business. They don't deserve that answer. They're not going to get it. That's a rough one. I feel like for Aries, like, that's not typical Aries energy. Usually when you have something to say, it's right out there. Strategic, yes. You can be very strategic when you want to, but it's kind of like managing other people's bad behaviors is what you're doing, so that they don't double back on you. That's basically what this is. Otherwise, you get people upset about things that they really don't have any right to be upset about, and they just continue to make problems for you and people that you care about going forward. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's what I'm seeing. It bothers me. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate that that's the way it's working out, but the whole purpose of this reading is to set you up to have things work out the way you want, not the way somebody else wants. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.